Hi everyone, my name is Cassidy.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Sarah.
And we are 79 Media, and we are here to talk about our APIDA, our Asian Pacific Islander Desi American recommendations, because May is APIDA month. And we are so excited to be celebrating this month. And we wanted to share with you some of the things that we have been watching and that have really impacted us, just so that you can have something for every day of this month to watch to support APIDA artists and creatives.
My recommendation is Searching, starring John Cho and directed by Anish Chaganti. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, it is a movie about this man who is looking for his daughter who's gone missing, and it all takes place through like computer screens and phone screens, and it's all just really done in a very inventive way. I mean, it stars John Cho, who is amazing as always. Support John Cho. Not necessarily about him being Asian American, it's just like, you know, an Asian American playing a leading role, and we love to see that.
Yeah, they photoshopped John Cho into a bunch of blockbusters. So they photoshopped him into The Martian and then Me Before You and Avengers and stuff like that. And he looks incredible. Let me just say, he like totally fits. Like, Hollywood, get on this. Searching is a really, really good movie, especially if you like to watch with your family. I think it's a really good like bonding. I love watching it with my dad. My dad really loves movies, and it was just like, because he's like looking for his daughter, and we were both like, aww.
John Cho's actually been in quite a few projects. He's one of the actors who's been around in Hollywood for a while, but there's so many up and coming Asian and Asian American artists, which is really cool, but we've forgotten about the people who've actually been here and like doing that pioneering groundwork for actors for a long time. And so it was really cool to see how much attention he was getting, but I think people kind of forgot, like, he's actually been around. Like, it's like not new to the scene. So also giving credit where credit's due, where people have been here for a while.
Speaking of pioneers and people who have been around for a while, is the show Never Have I Ever, written by and created by Mindy Kaling, who I've been obsessed with The Office lately. I'm sure you guys like know, but I've also been like obsessed particularly with her. And I've been listening to The Office podcast, and she came on and like talked about one of the episodes that she wrote, and she's just an incredible human being. Like, she was on this really popular like off-Broadway play when she was like 25 or something like that. She just graduated college. She was in a show called Matt and Ben, and it was basically just a show about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in writing Good Will Hunting, which is like so random, but it's amazing. And so she's just the funniest human and so intelligent. And this TV show is so good. It's like quickly become one of my favorite, like pretty much past The Office, sorry. But like, it's just been amazing because I definitely like see myself in this show, because in high school I also had like quite a multi-ethnic group of friends, and I was watching this with, you know, my two best friends that I'm still friends with now, and we were like relating so much to everything that they were saying, like, you know, like dressing up. We're like, oh, I thought we agreed we were gonna dress up today. Like, that is something we did. We told each other, hey, I'm gonna wear a skirt tomorrow, do you want to wear one? And like, that's kind of what we did. And the fact that also Eleanor, she's, you know, a Chinese student, like her mom is an actress, and that's so funny and so cool, because we rarely see that, even though she may not be the best mother, still like the fact that Eleanor also like wants to become an actress and has like aspirations that are not necessarily like the stereotype Asian or like Asian American careers is really cool. And yeah, just to see that whole like representation and also, you know, multi-ethnic relationships and stuff like that, it's just been super awesome. So I love the show, love Mindy Kaling, would highly recommend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great, fun show. Also, shout out to Max and Holly Yoshida. We love a hapa, and also it's just like a cool story of how like originally the character hadn't been written to be Hoppa, but then like Mindy Kaling learned that he was like half Japanese, so she made that a part of his character. And we love like, you know, acknowledgement of being biracial and just like including that as part of the character. It's not part of you, it's not like erased. So shout out to Mindy Kaling for also just like that piece of inclusion.
Even just the sheer fact of like written, directed, and produced by such a powerhouse, like female force, like that alone is like huge. And in Hollywood in particular, it's like you can't just like brush that over, because that doesn't happen every day. Unfortunately, it should, but it doesn't at the moment. So
also just an incredible cast of Desi actors. Like, they're so good. You know, like it's amazing. The woman who plays the mom, Porna, she is super famous in India, and the fact that she like came like did this really amazing show and is getting like more international recognition is just super fun and super cool.
So my recommendation is, it's definitely a throwback, and it's not like in the profound sense of the word. It's American Dragon Jake Long. Yes, I am talking about the Disney Channel animated series. Yeah, and even when I watched it though, it's funny because like even back then, like I knew it was super Americanized, but growing up, like that's kind of one of the few shows that I had to watch. I also think it's funny and I appreciate the humor and I love the relationship between Drake. Why do I keep saying Drake? Jake and his grandfather. I think it's a really special thing. Also, the voice actor, fun fact, Dante Bosco, also the voice of Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Speaking of people who've been around in Hollywood for a while, but you don't always see, partly because yes, he's a voice actor, so it's a little different, but some pretty cool credits to his name. It's basically about a boy who can turn into a dragon and basically is like protecting the city from, called the Huntsman. There's a little like Romeo Juliet stuff happening, which is really fun. So we had that, at least for me growing up, and that was super important to even just see some version of representation. Like I would take what I could get, but now we've come so far to have like Raya and the Last Dragon, and so like those two polar opposites in some ways is really cool. Also, I just like, it's really like maybe basic humor, but I also still think it's really funny. And I love his little sister, so sassy. She's savage, as little sisters are. I wouldn't know, but I've seen.
I mean, like when I was watching it, I didn't even have like a concept of like what representation was. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger, and the fact that it was still there and that like I don't know, it was just such a fun show. It was one of my favorite shows growing up, and I didn't even recognize I think the reasons why it was so fun for me to see, you know, things that I related to, and the fact that I was, you know, even like privileged enough to have something like that on TV while I was growing up was really cool. Because I know like even, you know, for my dad growing up, like he didn't have that or like and anything like that. But it shows like where we've come from and how much further we have left to go. But the fact that, you know, we still have like these really classic TV shows in our mind's eye, like as we grow up, kind of shows the impact that it has on us. And so I think it's just an amazing show and super fun.
Support Dante Bosco. There's another person to support. Fun fact, if you don't know, he was in Hook with Robin Williams when he was like a wee little lad. So if you want to see him actually in person instead of just being a voice for an animated cartoon, it was just a really good time when I was growing up and watching it. That and Brenda's song were my Asian pillars in Disney. So shout out to them both.
She's an OG.
OG Crazy Rich Asian.
OG Crazy Rich Asian, Brenda Saul.
What we are on. Wow, amazing. Well, everyone's on, honestly, but yeah. I'll recommend Watch Your Media, specifically with Stephen Lim and Ryan Bergara. Ryan Bergara is also mixed, hot book shout out. And Stephen Lim, they're both from BuzzFeed, which you might know them from. Ryan and Shane did BuzzFeed Unsolved. They did all that stuff. And then Stephen Lim did Worth It. So yeah, there's just like a continuation of them making their own content that they want to make. So there's like lots of more food content as well as more like horror content and stuff, and just like them kind of like goofing around and being like fun friends with each other. And it's just great to see. And yeah, I just recommend checking them out and supporting them. Just like lots of post BuzzFeed people that have like burgeoning YouTube channels, just like supporting them once they're outside of that more like corporate structure and just like continuing to support their YouTube careers. So yeah, check them out if you haven't.
Yeah, they're incredible. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, wow, they're like set, you know? Or I don't know. It's really cool that they were able to have like a, you know, that whole like corporate thing where they're able to like do the BuzzFeed thing, but also have now a chance and an opportunity to like create their own content and still like have a following and a support for that, because I think that's really important too, when you're a creative in general, like having that balance between like being able to do what you want to do but also like having the ability to like support yourself and stuff. And so the fact that they've done it is really cool, and that the fact that they still continue to have support is an amazing thing. And I think it's a testament to their like skill and their like vision.
Yeah, I think what's funny is like they always talk about, as a professional artist, like having something on the side, because even though you may be doing something creative in your actual job description, it may not be the actual like art or like content you want to make. The fact that you can turn like more of your like actual artistic creative vision and like make it your actual thing, like that's no small feat at all.
Continuing on with YouTube, I think the YouTube space has been really cool for Asian Americans or just like Asian people in general. The fact that like there have been so many prominent YouTubers, even before like this whole, I feel recent like YouTube explosion of everyone just like going on YouTube. I think that one of those people, like one of the OGs, is Wong Fu Productions, whom we love here, along with like other OGs like Ryan Higa and then Kev Jumba. Yeah, like these were my childhood, you know. So, but I was talking specifically about Wong Fu Productions because they have had just an incredible career, I think, on YouTube. And yeah, I think it's hilarious that they went to UCSD because it's just like, I feel like a lot of my friends went there, and the fact that like Wong Fu Productions also went there is like super awesome. But I think they've also had a really cool career in terms of like balancing the like super dramatic, like beautiful, you know, shorts with these really cool, like funny comedic shorts have been really awesome to see. And I know they've really informed the way that I, you know, consume media and what I love, and they've like formed my taste, I guess. But yeah, they're amazing. And the fact that they have such like high quality content too is really awesome. So we love Wong Fu Productions, love a good awkward animal, you know, there from the beginning. Strangers Again is amazing. When Five Fell, I cried every time. Incredible stuff. Go check them out if you haven't already. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of them, but like, go watch them.
Yeah, it's just been really cool, like watch their content kind of like grow and evolve. So fun fact to connect things, Stephen Lim applied multiple times to intern for them, but never got accepted. But you can still make it even if they deny you, like Stephen Lim did.
I think like what's funny also like channels that have been around this long is you literally get to watch these creators grow up. Like you see them so small and now they're like cast as like actual adults. I think also it's cool because then like Wong Fu and like all these like old channels that we've grown up with, it's like encouraging to know that you don't have to be like an A-lister in Hollywood to like make an impact. And it shows like they're a prime example, whether you're talking about Asian American representation or just like YouTube in general, of like what smaller platforms can do, although YouTube is arguably not a small one, but it's not like, oh, I'm getting produced at Warner Bros or something like that, you know? Also, like personal thing, I love reliving all the 2000s trends through like their old videos because they're so specific to 2000s, like style, fashion, things people say, like all of that. It's still fun, it's still great, iconic always in their own right.
Continuing on with the YouTube train, we also want to highlight Jubilee. They were formerly Jubilee Project. I was subscribed to them before, you know, they became Jubilee Media. Yeah, but they're an incredible, also like a little bit before they were Jubilee Media, were more kind of Wong Fu-ish, where they had a lot of these like really dramatic shorts that I believe are still on their channel. So if you want to go like watch them, they're really amazing. Jason Lee, one of the founders of Jubilee, also like knows one of New Song Church's pastor, and so he was actually like in one of their videos, and they did a lot of like Christian kind of based content in the beginning. But what I really love about them is their ability to just cultivate empathy, and that's like their brand is like empathy. But I think that's such a good brand to have, because right now, especially now that we're like so divided, the fact that they've been having such a cool impact on this generation of humans has been amazing to see, like the really like productive dialogue that happens in a lot of their videos, but also being able to like learn more about other people's cultures and other demographics too, just been really fun.
They kind of almost remind me of Soul Pancake, another channel actually, and that kind of same branding of like engaging in conversations, like difficult conversations or just like random fun.
Like Sarah, support Sarah. So I guess for our first actor to like just like shout out, I'm gonna shout out Chloe Bennett. So she was the star of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's gonna be in the upcoming Powerpuff Girls like reboot thing. So that's super exciting. She's gonna be Blossom. So yeah, just shout out to her. She's Hoppa. Can you tell I have a bias? Yeah, so just like, yeah, shout out to generally supporting her. I don't know, she just like kind of means a lot to me. I don't know, because like even though Agents of Shield started coming out when I was like in high school, like just seeing that representation of like a biracial girl who's like Hapa like background, like it was acknowledged like her mom was like Asian and her dad was white in the show. So just like having that acknowledgement like a lot to me. And at one point like made me like cry sometimes when I would think about it. No matter I guess like at what point in your life you're at, even if you're already like in high school at a certain point, like representation like still matters and can make a big impact. So just like shout out to her and just like yeah, supporting her and just like her owning her Asianness as well. And yeah, shout out.
Okay, there are so many other like there's so many actors and actresses that I can like name that have been incredibly impactful, but like one of the ones that really comes to mind is Lea Salonga, because as you know I love musicals and she's like the queen of Broadway. I'm sorry, Sen Foster. It's Lea Salonga. But yeah, I think she's just an incredible force. She was really young when she started out on Broadway, and the fact that her voice is just so beautiful, it's so good. She was in Miss Saigon, and then also she played Mulan, the singing voices of Mulan and Jasmine, and that she's just been like part of all of these projects, and a lot of people like don't really know who she is. And so she's just been an incredible, amazing actress and like role model to look up to. And yeah, she's amazing, and she is still like active in the community. So she was just recently in a Broadway show called Allegiance, based on George Takei's life in Japanese internment camps, and I think those are like super important stories to be telling. And yeah, just would highly recommend supporting her, I guess, and like looking into her stuff, because her voice is just so beautiful, so beautiful.
So my two shout outs, I'm actually going to change one of mine just because I'm feeling pretty nostalgic, and I've been watching this old show for a while just because I missed it. So my first shout out is actually going to be Grace Park. If you don't know her name, that's not surprising because she hasn't really done any projects since she left Hawaii 5-0 a while ago, because the series wrapped I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. But I want to shout out her because she, also Daniel Day Kim, those were the two actors, not voice actors, that I grew up with and watching and being like, oh, that's like acting is something I can do. And like, yeah, they were a lot older than me, still a lot older than me. But like at that point, like when I was that young, it didn't matter. I just like needed to see a face that looked somewhat like mine in the similar ethnic racial category. And so she means a lot to me. Yes, I've been watching a lot of the Hawaii 5-0 reruns that they've been airing, just because I think it was a great show. It was also fun to see a lot of places that I've been to on Oahu, but her in particular, I was like, look at this badass lady. Like, she's a force on that show, not because she's like aggressive or like anything, but she's just like very much herself, but still kicks ass, beats up bad guys. And I'm like, ugh, I just want to be her, like growing up. And so that was really cool. So shout out Grace Park. Second one, probably, hopefully, a lot more known, Gemma Chan, the absolute queen of everything and anything. I think also just like as an actress, the reason she always stands out to me is she has such an elegant presence and energy that she brings to all of her characters. Even in Raya and the Last Dragon, I can like, even though it's voice acting, like she still brings that to her character regardless. And I think that's what makes her stand out to me, even if we were just talking about actors in general. She brings that force. She's like so regal in that way, but also so like grounded. Gemma Chan, she also recently did a project with Meryl Streep. Hearing her talk about that interview is so funny, and hearing what it's like to talk about with working with Meryl Streep and all these things. And like, obviously working with Meryl Streep isn't like the mark of, oh, you made it in Hollywood or whatever. In fact, if anything, I think it's confirmation that like you belong in what you're doing and your craft and things like that. And I mean, she didn't need it, but it was really cool. I could talk about her all day. And when Nicole was like, just pick one, when I was like, can I pick 12? Nicole was like, oh, who's the person you would want to like meet? And I was like, oh, it has to be Gemma Chan. Like, there's no question in my mind. So that was just me fangirling for like the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, so for our my first music, my only, I don't know, okay, it's a music recommendation. But it's Jay Park, or Edge, as his like individual music is known as. He's part of a Korean pop band called Day 6, but I prefer his individual like single music, which you can find on YouTube and SoundCloud under Edge, EAJ, just his name backwards. And yeah, it just touches my soul deep down. And sometimes I just like listen to his SoundCloud on repeat, and I'm sad it's not on Spotify, but I also appreciate that he's not doing the solo music for like money. It's just for pure artistic like expression. So yeah, it's just really cool. I first found out about him through watching Among Us videos, because you would hop on those with people like Disguised Toast and Saikuno and all that. So yeah, just like also those are also a bunch of other Asian YouTubers to support, but yeah, just like his music's great, and yeah, it touches me, and I get low-key obsessed at times. So
yeah, the next music recommendation, we only have time for a few, so we only have two. But the one that I wanted to highlight is, her name is Lao Fei, and she is just really, she's been really, really popular on TikTok, but she's so talented. She only has a couple songs on Spotify, and so she's like a fairly new artist. But she is super talented. She can play like cello and like 5 other different instruments, and her voice is like butter. I feel like when I think that's my adjective for voices that I like, is butter. But yeah, she is like definitely more, she's not super like poppy or like belty, I guess, but she has this really soft, like jazzy, deep voice that's so unique and just so beautiful. And so would highly recommend her. She's fairly new, and so give her all the support you can. Listen to her music, follow her on Instagram and TikTok if you have TikTok. And yeah, she's just an amazing musician. I can't dance, but Sarah can.
Well, side shout out Lisa Matsui, because she absolutely can. For our highlight dance recommendations, if you haven't seen my random recommendations, sad, but you will recognize, if you have, which is great, you will recognize these two that I will forever be such diehard fans for. Sean Liu, he is a dancer, he's also a choreographer. It's funny because like we're not that far apart in age, but I feel like so much older than him, because I was like, I just like remember seeing when he wore like the 2000s beanie and like that style, and now to see like his very just his style evolve, which is, side note, not relevant to his dancing. Sean's creativity is absolutely out of this world. His choreography is so distinct, even among choreographers. There's kind of this quirkiness to his like specific articulation in everything he does, and you can just kind of like, you just like watch videos and you're like, I see Sean's influence in that one, and you can just like pick it out. He's done the music videos, like actually in them, and choreographed them for like Justin Bieber and a couple other of the big artists, which I think is really cool. And I think he just embodies just like an artist who just works and just wants to be better and more inspired by what they do. And because of that, they get all this attention, not because they're trying to get attention and they're like trying to like fit trends or things like that. Like, not any problem with that, but he's definitely just like an OG artist, super grounded in that way. And I really, really respect his approach to just like, my focus is my craft, and the fact that I have like fans is cool. Like, that's hard, I don't know, to have sometimes, and maintain that mentality. He collabs a lot with my other favorite, Kinjaz. They're a dance company studio. I've talked about them a lot, but also the reason I wanted to highlight them on this particular podcast recommendation is because they do dance showcases over in Asia, and they even have studios over in Asia. And I love that they're constantly bridging that gap between the Asian and Asian American community in the States and the Asian dance communities actually in Asia, whether they're choreographing for the big names like Jackson Wang, who is a big name in China, a lot of those artists over there. But it's just cool to see that like that those relationships are happening, and also just like, I don't know, they're so freaking good. That's all, like they're so good.
Quick shout out first, because Kinjas have like collabed with Wong Fu in the past, so you'll see like a lot of these creators just like interacting with each other and supporting each other, which is amazing. So my last little recommendation is IMDb, the International Movie Database, put together like a little like 4-minute video that just like saluted Asian American and Pacific Islander like filmmakers. So pretty much just like is a collage of all of their different like films from like different directors, and you just kind of like see it going through time from like all the way back into like the 50s and 60s all the way up until now. And yeah, I don't know, it made me cry. I know I mentioned I've cried earlier before in this video, but I really don't normally cry. It's just media that makes me cry. Media makes me cry a lot. So especially Asian representation makes me cry a lot, if you can't tell. So yeah, it's just like a really nice, sweet video that they like put out kind of like around the time, when there was like more awareness of like stop API hate going around. So just really appreciate that, and also just like, yeah, continuing to support like current amazing filmmakers like Lulu Wang and Chloe Zhao, although she's like originally from China, but she's like an American now, so it's all good. Maybe she'll win an Oscar tomorrow, although by the time this video comes out, maybe she already would have. Anyway, yeah, just like really cool kind of like reminder of all these different Asian filmmakers that you might not know were Asian, or just like films you might not know were like directed by Asian people. So yeah, it's like it's a good like reminder of the influence that we have in Hollywood and on the world as at large. So yeah, good times.
All right, those are our 15 recommendations for APIDA month, and we are just so excited for you guys to kind of dive deep into who these people are, because they're so talented, so amazing, and yeah, we love everything that we talked about. Obviously, we're recommending them to you, but yes, we have a whole other list of just other recommendations that we loved and that we didn't get a chance to talk about in this short initial video, but we will link that to the description below, and so hopefully you can check those things out. And yeah, we're just so excited for you to watch and to listen and to just be a part of this. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna sign off for now, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Woohoo!